Lost my best friend to 23. She left her body and hovered above me. I saw no shadow, I looked around, searched every building and home that I found. I saw no shadow, but felt the glow. The warmth inside me, it kept me afloat. It felt like heaven had found my bones and gave me comfort when I feel alone. Now you're gone, I'm alone. I guess it's time to get better. Through the pain, I will go alone. If I fall, break my bones, I will scream even louder. 'Cause I'm not dying alone. I lost my best friend to 23. She left her body and hovered above me. Best friend to 23. I heard the heavens crying above me. They gained an angel, I lost a friend. I felt like dying again and again. I went through hell, stared at death, but I keep fighting with each living breath. I saw no way out from where I stood. Felt like the fire had burned me through. Now you're gone, I'm alone. I guess it's time to get better. Through the pain, I will go alone. If I fall, break my bones, I will scream even louder. 'Cause I'm not dying alone. I lost my best friend. Inside your self-righteous symphony, I would rather let this go than to bring it up again.
Hello, all you beautiful nerds, and welcome back to another live podcast on a Thursday. Oh my gosh, it's been a long week. I'm feeling pretty terrible today, so this is gonna be a really fun podcast for me mostly, and I'm gonna try my best not to cough into the microphone on you guys. I'll just lean over there. I'll get out of the way. Don't worry, it's gonna be fine. We're still gonna have a fun show because I get to relive like one of the most amazing fishing trips I think I've ever been on in my entire life. Paul, would you agree? Pretty amazing trip.
Yeah, I think the only thing that even comes close was that big pike trip that we like stumbled into
Oh yeah.
last year. That was so fun.
We didn't get to go camping at all this
None.
year. That was a terrible travesty of 2021 to me, was that we didn't camp at all. No rustic spots, no fishing camp trips. Like, yeah, ugh, I'm so upset about that. But we did get to go on this trip. So you guys, tonight we're going to be talking about fishing the St. Lawrence. It was a magical, legendary place to be. It was fantastic.
So if
We get
people
the
don't
ins
know
and
about the
outs.
St. Lawrence though.
Yeah.
So just let's set the stage here.
Set the stage. Let's do it.
So if you haven't already, Google the St. Lawrence River. It is a river that originates way up north in Canada, comes all the way down and exits, I think, in Ontario. So it is essentially the border in between the U.S. and Canada in northern New York, where we were, and we were fortunate enough to hook up with Smallmouth Crush, the Monster Bass crew, Fishing Grubs. If you haven't checked out his channel, he just posted his day one video of
you
that
can see
trip.
their perspective. Him and Larry Melton Jr. fished together. Yeah. We had an impromptu $500 fishing tournament, and Paul and I didn't know about it, and you can see what happened in the video. But yeah, you can see their perspective, which is pretty cool because they had the biggest bag of the trip. I think of the trip period.
No,
both days. It was
Crush,
like, yeah.
Crush on day 2, I think, had a bigger bag.
Did he break 25 day
yeah,
2?
I thought he had 26 on day 2.
I don't.
I'm fairly certain.
Anyways, but yeah, you can see their perspective, which I think is pretty entertaining too. So yeah, legendary body of water. We're gonna tell you guys, from the road trip to day 1 to day 2, we're gonna try and cover as much as we can for you today. Give you a little behind the scenes, some of the stuff you won't see on YouTube simply because there's no time. My video is already like 35 freaking minutes, and I cut a ton, you guys. So we'll give you as much perspective on that as we can. I think this will be fun, but we're also going to take your questions. That's right. It's viewer questions day. So just hammer us in the chat and we'll pause what we're talking about in our silly stories to chit chat y'all to answer those questions for you. Of course, if you like the content, be sure to subscribe. If you're listening on any of your podcast stations, be sure to drop a 5-star review and share the show with some of your fishing friends. We appreciate you very, very much. And we appreciate all you members. You guys should have, if you're in the Snorlax crew, your shirt. And I've seen some of you guys posting it, and I got to say, it's freaking awesome to see you guys.
I love that.
So post them, wear them when you're fishing, tag us in that. We will share that post all day freaking long. And again, we hope you guys enjoy the shirts. I got mine and I'm wearing them as well. And I'm stoked. It's a pretty freaking sweet shirt. I'm so glad we made that. We're actually... don't tell anybody this. I know this is, you guys wouldn't share this at all. Don't worry about it. But like, we might be making some socks with a certain company with some people who have been on the show previously. So that would be really cool. Maybe some Fish Socks USA. I don't know. What do you guys think? That'd be cool. And just chartreuse and purple socks. First of all, welcome back to 1998.
Sign me up.
It's been great. Let's definitely do that. And yeah, you guys are awesome for supporting the channel, period. The end. Like, that's what I want to finish on. Let's do we have a Q of the D?
Yeah, we do.
A different episode.
Westfall Outdoors just called me out, I think explicitly, for thinking the days got switched. I want to be really clear with every person that's on this chat right now. I do not know what day it is. I don't know what day it is, and I probably won't for another 2 weeks. People talk about the grind where they're like, I'm grinding. I'm like one year removed of like permanent grind, where I'm like, the grind is grinding me and I'm just trying to stay above water. So I have no clue what the day is. I make a list of stuff that needs to get done for my day, like whatever the day it is, and I get none of those things done. I pick up 6 new things that need to be done, and then those don't get done the next week. That's where life is. So I had no idea. I was like, oh, tomorrow questions. No. 4 hours from now, questions.
Oh, your Instagram. See, I didn't even know
Yeah.
what we were talking about. Your Instagram page, whatever. You
Brutal.
guys, you get it. Official to Burly Hype Man _ AKA _ we keep the fish. Fail. Appreciate the name change. That's fantastic. It's so true. And if you guys saw the video, you know exactly what happened in the intro. I explained it to them. Yeah, we're gonna get to it. But what a trip. Y'all slammed some great fish and are always winners in my book. Thank you. We did lose. Hard L, but that's fine. We didn't have enough fish anyways, so whatever. All right.
We'll get there. So
we'll get to it.
Q of the D. I just made this one up. It's not that hard. So Halloween was recently passed, right? Last weekend.
R.I.P.
My neighborhood is kind of does a pretty legit Halloween as it is. My question is Halloween a situation where you add lights to your home, or is it not an add lights to your home holiday? Like Christmas, add lights to your home. Thanksgiving, do not add lights to your home, right? That's normal.
I mean, yeah. Do you decorate for Thanksgiving?
No, absolutely not.
Q&A. Does anybody in chat decorate for Thanksgiving? Because I
harvest. People do like harvest. They'll they'll add a lot of like fall colored things and maybe a
Halloween, Christmas.
Yeah.
That's it.
So Halloween.
Lights for Halloween.
Yes or no?
No, absolutely not.
I'm a no. The rest of my neighborhood is a yes.
Sure. Interesting. What are the
Go on, elaborate.
Elaborate.
So like
explain to me what you mean, sir.
Josh says it depends on what you're doing at your house.
So you can have like a haunted house at your house.
Okay.
And you would
That's
use
different. The lights were part of your haunted home. This is just decorating spooky.
You're talking about decorating lights. Like just like Christmas lights, but
like purple and orange lights, or like
like instead of the icicle lights, like the ones that look like blood and it's light, that red light that goes down, that would be fine, but that'd probably be about it for just decorating.
Yeah.
My whole neighborhood, like 50% lights.
That's absurd. That's like more than my past neighborhoods did Christmas lights.
You see my neighborhood though, and actually Chelsea is like where I live is like they're all about Halloween. They love the Halloween. Although my neighbors on this side,
he's pointing at their house next door.
I'm pointing at their house next to where I live. They are right there, and they have had Christmas lights up. I think we're going on 2.5 years now. Same Christmas lights, and the crazy part is he's like so tall, he could just like go and pick them up, like you would go pick up. You know, like I'll just like grab something off a shelf. He'd be like, "Oh, the Christmas lights!" Like he's like 6'5". No, I wish he did. That would make sense. They're just up there.
Suburban redneck, man. It's fine.
And they're not even like well hung, like well attached to the home. Like if they were like nicely placed, I'd be like, yeah, I wouldn't want to redo that for a decade either.
He blindfolded himself.
No, it was like he was. You know how if you want to hang something in a tree, you grab a rock. You like tie a rock to a string, you throw it. Like that's how it looks like how he hung everything in his house.
Even though he could reach it.
It's exactly like that.
Yep.
Yes. But he only had 4 bullets. He was just like and he's done.
4 bullets. He was Deadpool counting his bullets.
Exactly. All right. Well, we're still waiting for some questions, so bring them up. Definitely want to.
You guys just go ahead and ask questions and we'll roll in.
B Dooley hit us one?
Oh yeah, B Dooley. Hopefully you enjoyed your I'm sorry I held on to your Garmin Striker cast for 3 months longer than I was supposed to package. Hooked you up with a bag there, bud. I saw you posted it earlier, so yeah, hopefully you get on some big uns with that. All right, so B Dooley's question, where'd I miss it? If you could fish anywhere, where would it be and what would it be for? Well, no longer the St. Lawrence for big smallmouth because I did that, but I want to do it again. So if it were a place other than that, I don't know, Paul, you go first.
I would really, on the list, but probably not my answer, would be going way up north into Canada, Northern Ontario, fish for giant pike. That'd be a really cool one. I actually think, and we've been talking about this, the Monster Bass team has been talking about this, I'd really like to go down south. I'd like to go to Louisiana. I'd like to hunt some redfish. I would like to, I'd like to spear some fish, but I think like hunting redfish would be pretty dang awesome. That it just seems like that would be just a wreck, or tarpon, probably one like some in that neighborhood. I think it'd be really cool, but like inshore, not out in the water, out in big water.
Yeah.
Makes it tougher. Yeah, well, I mean, you know, Europe is it's just not the same as America where you can be like, oh, I'm just gonna go to a place. Like you pretty much have to go pay somebody to guide you exclusively, like in a private area, because most of the everything is private. So I don't have like the same desire to do that internationally that I would in like the US. But I do, I mean, GTs. I mean, going out into the like Caribbean or whatever, and GTs. It's not even a question. It's not even a question, really.
100%. I think I'd be on board with all of those. And if I were to say anything different to your European guide trip, I would say the UK pike are pretty absolutely absurd, totally different. They also do perch totally different. So there's some cool options, I would say, over there.
And Australian perch are like the size of peacock bass.
Just monsters. Or Amazons for arapaima and peacock. Ooh, Asian catfish.
You know, a lot of people say that. I don't know if I have the desire to catch like a 150-pound catfish or whatever. It's not that it's not cool, but like it's like lower on my list than like predator fish.
Anyways.
Yeah, like there's there's definitely probably some like Amazon because Grubbs actually brought that up. He was like, "Oh, I want to go to the Amazon and fish for like some fish there," and I was like arapaima or whatever, and I was like, you know, just the bugs, man. Like, do I really want to deal with like
that's why Amazon wouldn't be on the top of my list.
I mean, it sounds cool. It's not that it's not awesome. It's like, and I totally get it. I just don't know. Like, I don't know. See, someone called out sailfish and swordfish and all this sort. Like, deep water fishing to me is like very cool. Just not as high on the list. I like to do it myself. Like, I just let's drive the boat over and grab a fish. Like, it's very cool. And I if I did it once, it would probably skyrocket up the list. But like knowing what I know now, I'm probably more interested in like doing something myself. Like I want to be the one to do everything.
Yeah, like ideally, what we tried to do this trip, for example, and Paul successfully did on several fish, was like just bring our own gear. We did get to fish like our combos the vast majority of the time, but bring our own gear, bring our own baits, and like have a chance to figure it out. And I mean, I think we should definitely just dive into that here. We'll start talking about the trip here, but good questions there. Keep the questions coming, you guys,
and good answers too. Some people are calling Pay Lake in Thailand, Salmon Run in Alaska. I don't know Lake El Salto in Mexico. I have no idea what that is, but it sounds cool. Scuba diving with a spear. Yeah, Lake El Margarita in Mexico.
Spanish for the salt. Anyways, before we go on, Army Outdoors, what's up, buddy?
Bro.
Welcome to the show, my friends. We got a $20 super chat from him. Thank you so much, man. When is it too cold to bass fish, excluding ice fishing? So yeah, what's the line? Where's the line that we cross? Do you prefer a sunny winter day or a cloudy winter day? Okay, well, there's a toss up for other reasons, but I would say for the when is it too cold to bass fish, like I'll go until they literally just like don't bite on me for like 5 trips. Like if there's no ice, I'll keep trying. Like I've done it before, I'll do it again. I might not get my boat out there. I'll probably shift to the bank because I don't want to be on the water when it's that cold. And then for sunny or cloudy winter day, I mean, my preference for enjoyment is sunny. Sometimes cloudy gets me more fish. So it's a little, I don't know, it's kind of a toss up, but I'd say if I can have some sun, a little solar warmth goes a long way.
Yeah, the fish don't care. I don't feel like the fish don't care nearly as much about sun cover. When it depends
on snow cover.
Yeah, it's snow cover. But like, you know, I don't think they care nearly as much.
It's not the same as.
No, I'm definitely down for the shift. I'm definitely down for the sun because there's nothing in this world like throwing on the Carhartts, having it be 45 degrees, grabbing a couple beverages, dragging a sled out, and then as long as you do even just moderate, hanging out in a hoodie and the Carhartts is like top notch. It's just so much fun. You know, just getting like, you know, and not getting wind burned. Like that is just the absolute best. It's so much fun. That's like when I think about like the best days I've had ice fishing, it's usually those days. And yeah, I mean, it's too cold to bass fish. It really comes down to like what kind of gloves do I have to wear? Like traditional gear, if I have to wear like gloves, then I'm like, this sucks. Like I'm in, but it's like it's not as much fun. And that's where it's like I'll probably still go. So it's not like I'm not crossing line, but I'm like not thrilled about it.
Yep.
Gloves ruin the experience. I'll say that for sure.
So like I'll go gloveless a lot longer than Paul is going to go gloveless. You guys, my problem is my feet. Now that I have nice boots, I'm like, pretty much.
See, that's why ice fishing I can usually go further for ice fishing because like I'll just live out there.
Yeah. All right. So, well, we'll get to them slowly, but let's get into the trip. So, Paul, what happened? Where'd we go? What did we do?
So we already talked about.
I wasn't there for it.
Yeah, we went to the St. Lawrence, and it was a blast. It was for us. We drove, so was
that a fun trip?
Yeah, it was 11 and a half hour via Google Maps, so 12 and a half hour drive. We did hit Cabela's. You're going to see that on the video I just edited that posts Friday, so tomorrow. Well, by the time you see this today, so if you're listening to this, if you're listening to this at 6 p.m. Eastern, it'll launch in an hour.
One more hour.
Yeah, wait an hour, and that video's out. But yeah, we did hit Cabela's on the way up. It was a ton of fun. We filmed a lot for Monster Bass was also filming a video. So Sam Moore from Sam Moore Media was there. Same person that like essentially directed and helped film and do everything for the Mad Max Popper video. For a video that you're going to see here shortly, also did the Alex Rudd videos that I don't know if anybody has actually seen or not, but they are out there. The Square Bill videos.
I think they're advertising it. Yeah, the Square Bill one should be out there. The Patriot 3.0.
That's the one that you're going to see shortly. Is the Patriot 3.0 video. But anyways, so he was on the trip and they were doing some stuff. So we did some B-roll for them, which I'm really excited about. He kind of had a cool idea that I'm really excited to see what he does with. So he asked us to take a lot of like 16:9 like vertical phone video footage that he's going to use. And I'm really excited to see how that turns out. So keep your eyes peeled for that on the Monster Bass channel. Yep. So anyways, did a ton of filming for that, like while we were driving up, goofing around. And then we got to the middle of nowhere, upstate New York. And by like the middle of nowhere, I mean, I'm like, it's cheese country. Like that's what it is. And it's beautiful, smelled wonderful. And we were close to the St. Lawrence. So we were right, it's cow farm. So it didn't smell wonderful. But it was beautiful farm country. And we were
kind of creepy out at night.
It was spooky for sure.
Out on the farm, like walking the perimeter of that farm at night. It had a big scary barn that we weren't supposed to be into. Inside of
stole all their firewood, Jeff.
I was just about to say like allegedly, like prove it. Anyways, but there was. I'll jump ahead on this one, but in the shed, right? So you guys, I want you to imagine.
We were on it. So we had an Airbnb. It was like a 6 or 7 room Airbnb, like an old house that had been renovated a couple times.
4.5 foot ceilings. I hit my head like 90 times in this thing.
Because it was a finished attic.
Yeah. Well, the whole house had low ceilings. Yeah, Paul was totally fine. I clipped my dome like 5-6 times.
Well, Jeff was on one of the perimeter rooms. So Jeff was actually like in the most attic room. I was not. I was in a normal room.
Yeah. Well, he got up the stairs first. That's what happens. Is what it is. But anyways, so yeah, like at this Airbnb, which apparently like a lot of guys coming up to fish the St. Lawrence, like it's like a common place they stay.
There's not a lot of Airbnbs that are larger. Really it had a garage and a decent driveway. It was right off one of the main roads, and it's within driving distance of a bunch of launches. So that's why a lot of tournament pros stay there.
So like first night we stayed there, we did a fire. They didn't have any firewood on site, so apparently we had to go buy it from somewhere. I had no idea where. Like we weren't gonna go looking for it, right? And they had a barn, like a pretty big barn. Like we went in there from the side. I was like, that's not that big. And then I opened it up and it like went for a stretch. It like went way back. And it's like your classic 1800s barn. Like you walk in, you can see through the slats in the floor. You can see the subfloor down there a couple feet down. And then like we went back and we found a bunch of dry firewood. So we're using that. But then we saw like this next room. In this next room, we went back there with flashlights and fishing grubs. Sees this crawl space down below, and he just like slides down, and there's a Nerf shotgun down there, just chilling. I'm talking like a Nerf shotgun, not a real one. And I'm not just saying that for monetization purposes. It was Nerf. or nothing. And he went down there and he took that shotgun and brought it out, and like that was just like our prop. And pretty much we were guaranteeing like this barn was haunted. So now he grabbed a possessed object and Fish and Grubs. I don't know how he's doing these days, man. He took a demon home with him. I'm just kidding, you guys. But no, so that was like creepy barn, interesting, okay. And then we found out after that, Rick came out and he's like, "Yo, you guys, barn's off limits." Like, oh shoot. Well, so we didn't have a fire the other nights.
We took the ashes back so that the spirits wouldn't hate us.
Yeah.
No, the so we get into this house, and, we had
appease the spirits.
Yeah. We had a fire the first night. It was a ton of fun, just kind of getting to know everybody. I'd never met Larry face to face. We'd met him on the show, which was great. Same with Grubs.
And then D-bag. No, he was like the most gentleman of gentlemen. Yes. I gotta say, like all these guys we got to hang out with were like really fun people. It was easy to get along with all of them. I thought they were all super cool and not just like fake for the internet. So I thought that was
100%. Cool.
Like
Smallmouth guys. Smallmouth Crush was there.
He's a freaking blast.
Oh gosh, you want to watch someone dump truck some ice cream? Holy moly!
Have you guys? All right. First of all, chat. Have you ever put down a half gal?
A quart. I think it's a quart.
A quart. Was it a quart? Okay, so not quite a quart. So have you ever put down a quart? Not a pint. Not a Ben and Jerry's. I'm talking like the round tubs of ice cream. You ever put down a tub of ice cream? I want to know. In one sitting. Don't tell me over a week. No. 1 hour. Less than. Maybe 30 minutes. And like as you're having just like one of the most energetic debates of your life. Like you are debating like your life depends on it. All your passion and energy is going into this conversation in a room of like 8 or 9 dudes, right? And you're just plowing an ice cream tub. Like,
with not just a spoon, but like a serving spoon that lanolin. Yeah. So Smallmouth Crush housed like he was eating a bag of chips.
Yeah.
Housed a whole thing.
Justin Beard, that's breakfast. Whoa, dude.
Oh.
Rockablade says yes. Daniel T says yes, but sick afterwards. I would throw up.
How about black cherry?
How about if it was black cherry?
Just
I bet if it was like
nothing.
Let's say
I'm pretty confident the first.
You go to the freezer section. You go to the ice cream. Like you open the door, close your eyes. You reach around. I don't think you could grab black cherry then even. Like it's just not the flavor anybody grabs for. I would have expected maybe like a praline, maybe like a Neapolitan instead of that. Like if he's in the grandma section.
How old are you?
That's the grandma section. Black cherry goes in the grandma.
I'm very confident he had cherry walnut the first night, but apparently not. Either way, so we get there day one. It was just a hangout night. We had a couple of bevies, got to meet everyone, got comfortable. We woke up the next day at 6:30 probably. We woke up in the morning, and remember we're kind of gauging the sunrise here, so it's still dark.
Start.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for us, it's a late start. Yeah, and then we all went over to. We were very fortunate, so we got hooked up, right? So we got hooked up with some boats. Mm-hmm. We had 2 folks, and we're saying guides, and by guides I don't mean like their abilities. I'm using air quotes, right? I'm saying guides with air quotes, not because they didn't have the ability to like guide folks and put us on fish. Guides because they're not like technically all of them paid guides. Like, so they were acting as they were acting as like really cool dudes that knew the area very well. Yeah. And they came out and they showed us the courtesy of allowing us to fish on their boats, take us to cool spots that we otherwise would not have found.
This area is, like not an area you would typically be able to go to. Like this was.
So we were on a reservation, right. And so we had access to some areas that we wouldn't. That's from the launch standpoint. That's from a fish standpoint.
We were people when we were out there. They're like, you can't fish here, and just kicking boats out of the air.
Most of the we're skipping way ahead. So we get to the water and we kind of split up. And we said, okay, like Jeff and I are going to fish together. Mm-hmm. Grubbs and Milton Jr. are going to fish together, and then Rafi's going to go get in a boat with someone else, and then Rick is going to fish with Smallmouth Crush and Eric. So we all kind of split up into our boats. We're getting to know the boat drivers, and then we all kind of head out to a couple of different.
Before we get to the fishing, right? So just kind of like A couple things, when we were getting set up that made this interesting. There was like two guys already waiting at the ramp, and they were like, they got shoved to the way back of the line. So,
well, they were
sorry for
bank
those
fishing.
guys. They got on a boat afterwards. Like they were waiting for a guide. Like we usurped them. Yeah, it was very interesting. So that was a little awkward. And then Paul went bank fishing, and I was sitting there talking to Smallmouth Crush, and he was like, because he just knows the area like really good. He's like, oh, this area in the spring, awesome. Right now, there's no fish here. Guaranteed he gets snagged. And Paul's just throwing a mule donkey tail. He's just swimming it back. He didn't get snagged. He caught a couple of sticks, and then he like tries to come back, and he was like down. Right, so we're up on
it's
like
a super rocky area, but there's like 6 foot grass.
It was very steep ramp, and we're on just like this ledge, as you can see in the video from yesterday. And he's out there like bank fishing, and we're like, all right, bud, we gotta go. So he starts like wading through this crazy grass, and he just like, falls and almost smokes his face on this rusty railing, like
casual,
maybe a foot away. And I was like, dude, you good? Like, I don't know if I included it in that video, but at any rate, so then we're like, what boat did we get on? And there's all these guides, and everybody's like, I don't know. So we like shoved Rafi into the boat with like the dude, the guy, Will, who like put this whole thing together with Smallmouth Crush. So that guy was awesome, by the way. And that dude showed up in freaking shorts
on the windiest, coldest day, and it was 20 miles per hour winds. It was like 38 degrees, 36 degrees. It was not warm. He was like, cash.
Oh my god. So anyways,
some people can do that. I can't do that.
Yeah. So we put Rafi in his boat. Rick goes with Epic Eric and Smallmouth Crush, and then Larry and Grubbs are going to fish together because Paul and I were going to do some content together. So they like there was 2 boats to choose from essentially, and like they got one, we got one, right? So there's essentially 2 guides that were like up for grabs, right? Slightly different boats, definitely different guides. So anyways, we didn't care. So we get into our boat, and then we do like a nice quick start. And it was funny, like our guide, as soon as we took off, wind whipping at the face, can't feel my face at all.
We skipped a very, very important moment.
Talking to our guide? What?
So the whole premise of the day 1 and day 2.
Oh,
we didn't know this. So day 1, as Jeff and I are packing up and getting ready to get onto our boat, and Rick is still not on his boat, but everyone else is on a boat, and they're all like 20 yards off the launch. So Jeff and I are trying to figure out cameras. We're trying to figure out rods and reels. We're trying to get our lives together. We're screwing around, trying to make sure. Well, we're not screwing around. We're trying to make sure that we get on and get our B-roll and get everything done. While that's happening, we're not paying attention, obviously. Rick stands up at the edge of the pier and just shouts like,
"No, he was on his boat out there. He wasn't at the pier."
Oh, he was on a boat. He was on a boat. Oh, this is so much better.
He was on Smallmouth Crush's boat.
Rick is like 25.
To the only other boat that's out there. He was just talking to Grubbs and Larry, and he just goes, "Hey, $500 prize to the biggest bag." And you can actually somewhat hear it. I had to cut the audio out of the clip, but you could somewhat hear it in the video clip. And then like Paul and I don't react at all. We don't flinch. We don't even talk to each other. And that's something we would have been like, yo, you want to get this?
Let's get 100%.
Because we were at full hype mode. It's day 1, first minute on a water. Like we would have been full hype. So anyways, way later in the day, we got a call or Pat, our guide, got a call, and he goes, "Hey, did you know you're supposed to keep fish?" And that was like that moment we were just like,
huh?
What? Nope.
Yeah. So everyone else was fishing for largest bag. Now, not to say that we weren't trying to catch the largest fish.
Yeah.
But I almost didn't even keep the 2 biggest fish. They were close to the biggest fish of the trip, and I didn't even.
You went to put your 4.1 back in the water. I saw it on the video. Like you took your 4.1
because I didn't even. And someone was like, "Should we keep that?" I was like, "I guess."
Pat said, "Let's keep it so you can get a double 4-pounder pick."
Yes.
And then you were like, "Yeah, okay." So like, we almost put away our second biggest fish.
Didn't even think about it. So, because I didn't know. Anyway, so we missed that. Before we get into the actual fishing, we did have some pretty awesome questions come in. So I'm going to go to the live show chat. So we had a question. Okay, here we go. Official Burly Hype Man _ we keep the fish? Question mark. BFS or spinning? Yep. Yeah.
BFS or spinning for Finesse?
Mm-hmm.
great question. If I had to pick one, it'd be spinning. Like,
no,
it's not even a question.
It's not even close. Yeah, spinning for sure. And I'll say this. So the reason I'm saying that is because when you really think about it, the way the line lays on a BFS rod, like a bait casting rod, versus the way it lays on a spinning rod, there's like a millisecond plus or minus your feel on sensitivity, just because of the way the line lays. Forget everything else. Forget the quality of the rod. Forget the quality of the braid or the whatever, the mono or anything else. You're getting a sensitivity advantage. And if you're finesse fishing, that is the name of the game. That is what you're going for. So, yeah, I think it's not even close. Finesse. And also BFS, you just can't get nearly the quality. That's on the bait casting side. That is on the rod side. There are very, very limited options for quality rods. Many. And then your ability to cast is actually even the the Scorpion DC or whatever, like some of these other like bait casting DC rods, like they're just not going to cast as well as a spinning rod. You're going to have more to think about. You're going to not be as efficient or good. I'm always, if I'm going to pick one, I'm always going finesse spinning.
100%. I mean, I did have a lot of fun with my BFS, but the first time I used it, yeah, I still use it. The first time I used it, I lost like a bunch of fish, like maybe 5 fish first, just because what you said, I wasn't getting the bite right away, setting the hook kind of late on a chatterbait, on a moving bait. So I was like just missing them and getting smoked. So I mean, that's one thing I will say in a video that will drop late next week, probably another fishing trip we just went on. I caught a pike on the BFS and it was pretty sweet. It was like a decent pike. Number 2. And I was
if you do want to go for a BFS rod, I highly recommend that you actually upsize to a medium light or go to a light from an ultralight. And I also highly recommend that you go a little bit longer on the rod. And I recommend that you stick to moving baits. So crankbaits, inline or micro spinners. Anything of that nature, because you're just going to be way more effective than you will be. You'll catch a lot more fish and sense more bites and just do better with moving baits. Jigs, not so much. Drop shots, definitely not nearly as much. And anything like that, it's just not going to. Ned's absolutely not compared to a spinning setup. So moving baits, if you're going to go that way, go 6.5 foot. I go 7 foot, no problem, and then stick to that light, medium light instead.
Follow up BFF or BFS.
Yeah.
Friends forever or BFS. Easy. BFS. Yeah. I hate Paul. All right, let's keep going. BFS.
There's a couple other questions. 2 spinning rods, 7 foot. This is, what is it? Patty Sailor. Say Laurel.
Probably Sailor.
Patty Sailor.
Sailor.
He's got he or she has 2 spinning rods, a 7 foot medium and a 7 foot medium heavy. Wants to put braid to fluoroliter on those, and what would we suggest? I don't know what you mean by what we would suggest. I'm assuming size. On my mediums, I'm probably going for 10-pound braid, and for medium heavy, I'm probably going 15. And then I'm gonna go usually somewhere around 3/4 to half of the braid weight. So 15-pound braid, I'm going to use like a 10-pound fluoro. On like an 8 or 10-pound braid, I'm going to use like a 6 or an 8-pound fluoro, somewhere just shy of the braid rating. But it really depends on what you're fishing for. These are general rules.
Yeah, I mean, I generally have mine spooled up the same. We do kind of the same weights on our lines. So
I can tell you what I had on the St. Lawrence on a medium heavy that I fished all day and caught 4+ pound smallmouth on
15-10
the whole time without changing a single thing at all. 15-pound braid, and that's that. What is it? The soft steel, and then 10-pound fluoro, and I used that the entire time.
Yep.
So it works. And that's on that's on a 7.6 medium heavy.
That was my main rig, and then like my medium light, not that you asked, would be like a 10.8 or a 10.6 depending on what I'm fishing for. So same deal. Good braid to fluoro.
Good question. And then the last one, I love this one. B Dooley. Ford, Chevy, or Ram? I'm wondering if you've watched our videos.
Yeah, I feel like you know what trucks we have, and you're trying to pit us against each other, and you don't need to do that. We're already pitted against each other, dude.
Permanently.
Just fire and ice. We we don't mesh, but we do. All right. So
I drive a Ram, and I've had a Ram for the past it's like 6 years, and I love it.
I've had a Silverado just as long, so it's the same deal. All right, so we start fishing, right? And I need you guys to know how rapidly this occurred, and my day started to devolve, although it later came back. Paul had just it was already tied on.
Yep.
His shaky head, 3/8 of an ounce, with the Z Baits Co. What's it called? The
Bamboo Bomber. And it is in a golden goby
bait. Yeah. And like natural colors were the play. He just happened to already have this tied on. Hucks that baby out there, probably 3 casts, maybe 2.
No, it was more than that. It was like maybe a dozen. It was a short number of minutes. I'll tell you why it took a little while. I had to.
I'll tell you why. All right, I'll just see myself out.
Well, hold on.
I'll tell you
why it took. Let me go ahead and adjust my comment. The reason that it probably took longer than what Jeff thought, and I think it took longer than what Jeff thought, is because I was paying a lot of attention to the weight because we had crazy wind, so you had to be able to cast distance. But we also had current, which you had to deal with. The current was really hustling with all that wind. And we'd gotten rain the night before, so we were dealing with some runoff. So we were dealing with a couple of factors. 3/8 of an ounce, you're just shy of half ounce. Half ounce is about as heavy as I was prepared to go. I didn't want to go much heavier than that. So I was kind of right in my target weight. And it actually took maybe 10, 15 minutes for me to, we were targeting.
Figure it out.
We were targeting holes of open cover. So there's like some tallish foliage, and you could see light patches in the water that represented rocks with no vegetation, and that's what we were targeting. We were trying to drop our bait in there. I would cast at that initially. The wind would blow into it, and I'm like, cool, I nailed it. But then I was realizing my shaky head was actually falling in the grass because the current was pushing it. It took about 7 to 10 seconds minimum before your bait would actually hit the bottom, and we're only in like 6 feet of water. So it actually took me about 10 minutes to get it to where I could cast upwind.
Yep.
I would be maybe 10 yards off of the spot I was trying to hit upstream. Lure hits the water about 10 yards up, and then it would fall. And by the time it finally hit and I could tighten my line, I was in my spot. That took me about 10, 15 minutes to figure out. Once I figured that out, I could actually run that 3/8 of an ounce right along the bottom, and I could feel, because I was using what I consider to be a nice medium rod, I could feel the bottom. I knew exactly what I was doing. And then when I hit the grass, I would just raise it up above the grass until I hit the next rock spot.
Yep.
Once I figured that out, I started catching fish almost immediately. And that was actually just the biggest thing. So I was just using basically an upsized Ned, ultimately.
Yeah. And I was using a regular Ned, and it was 1/6 of an ounce because
that's what we thought in our heads.
Yeah, well, I talked to Smallmouth Crush before, and he was like, I've been catching them on Neds, but he'd been using more natural colors than I was using, and like Chartreuse. And it happened to be these darker natural colors, especially on the cloudier day that we're banging it. If it got bright, then you went for that like brighter goby color from Z-Man or Canada Craw or something where it's like copper and gold flake, so it flashed a little bit more. That was literally the pattern like the whole weekend.
Goby imitations were huge. Yep. So in that area, it's very much like what Michigan used to be like maybe 5-6 years ago, where it was all gobies all the time, and those fish are at this time of the year are gorging. Like,
oh my god,
gorging on them. They're gigantic. Goby are easy targets for them. They actually get pretty big. So the goby imitation was the deal. And the creek caller says
a goby bite a Carolina rig.
Yeah.
With like a 4-inch plastic. A goby was just nibbling on it. Like, what? I also got freaking perch and largemouth and carp and everything. It was really weird.
Creek caller called out the waterfowl hat is sick, and you are right. It is the dark camo. You should go get it. I love this hat.
Oh, the Waterland? I was like, waterfowl. What the hell
I love this hat. I love this hat.
Waterland. # go buy some sunglasses with Burly 15. Anyways, if you want a discount. So yeah, you banged out the 4.6 like right off the bat, which is sweet, and we kept that. Don't remember why, but we did, just to maybe get a pick later. Or
I was like, that's a big fish. I want to be clear
it was
too.
big fish. We were trying to get picks for Sam. Like the only intent or idea I had behind keeping fish for the day was like Sam wants picks. So I was like, okay. And then we kept, what we knew was a big fish even for the spot, right?
Yeah.
And that's all that we had in our minds, not keeping for a tournament at all.
Yes. So, and the other thing I want to set up too, and we'll probably cover this like 13 times, but like everyone on this trip the night before was like, you're going to catch 6-pounder. You're probably going to catch 6-pounder. You could catch a 6-pounder. 6-pounders are out there. 6-pounder, 6-pounder, 6-pounder. And it shouldn't have played as big of a deal in our minds as it probably did. But like
3.5.
I catch a 4.6, so basically 4.5, which is pretty darn close to like that's in like the top 10% of smallmouth I've ever caught. Mm-hmm. And if I caught that as a largemouth, I would be jacked on a normal day, like in Michigan. But we're all hyped up, and we're all, everyone's telling us you're gonna catch 5 and 6-pounders, like they're out there, you're gonna get them, and all of a sudden you're like 4.5, meh. Right? Like, and then you look back on it 2 days later and you're like, well, I just nabbed a 4.5 pound smallmouth, like right off the bat. And not that I was excited, but it was like, yeah, in your head you were like 4. Everyone talking that up, like I was targeting 5. And everyone's like, you're gonna break your PB, you're gonna break your PB, you're gonna break your PB. So I'm like, I need to catch like a 5.5 pounder so I can break my PB. Like I have to do that. And it was, everyone kept talking like that, and I really shouldn't have listened to any of that. That was stupid, to be honest.
It's the head games that kind of go on unintentionally, because we didn't even know we were in a tournament, but it's like head games play the same as they would whenever you've been in any tournament or played any sport. That's kind of how it goes with fishing, So so you banged that one out, and then you were kind of onto him, and Pat, our guide, was fishing a Carolina rig, which will come up very soon, and he was banging them out, and I'm sitting there in between you guys. You guys doubled up at one point, and that was about the time that I was like literally.
It had been a couple
out.
It had been a couple hours. It had been about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're gonna get to it. So
we're gonna get to your Carolina question just a second, Ruben.
Right now, because I suffered for 2 hours, and I was at a point where I was like, dude, forget this. So I threw a tube. And
because like Jeff said, we were trying to do it with our own gear. We did a whole video on everything we brought. We brought about 5 total, including terminal boxes of hard baits and terminal, and then we brought 4 bags of plastics. So we had our own gear, we had our own rods and reels, but it was, we were trying to do it ourselves. And like, I got lucky and just happened to have the right thing, on hand.
First try. It was the craziest thing because it's already tied on. But yeah, as he was fishing the same rig that whole time, I was fishing literally everything else we brought. Like I threw spinnerbaits, inline and double bladed spinnerbaits, like, of the similar color patterns too, like going for the gobies, going for the naturals. I threw square bills, I threw crankbaits, I threw Ned rigs of 4 different varieties. I threw
spinnerbait at one point.
Yep, I threw it all, man. Like when
I threw the shaky head at one point.
I did throw a shaky head, the exact same one, and it didn't work out. So it's like, it was how I was fishing essentially, and I needed to put myself in a position to have a better opportunity. And what better way to do that than a gosh dang Carolina rig? So before I got to that, I did try to, but I caught a very small smallie on it, and I was like, yay, broke my streak. So like that kind of,
a little bit of positivity.
I feel better, a little positivity. You were like in the video, you go, am I fishing with Jeff yet? And I was like, not yet. And this, because I was like, it's fine, but I can catch these in Michigan, because I'm still, you feel this pressure of a destination trip, by the way, guys. Like, I should put this out there. You drive that far, you spend this amount of money. Although, we would have spent way more if it weren't for Monster Bass, and thank them, honestly, for being 100%. So awesome and inviting us out and sponsoring this trip, because we would have had to pay for the place, we would have had to pay for the guide. So don't get me wrong, very, very happy about that. But even then, you show up at a place which is supposed to be a legendary body of water, and it is.
Cameras are on. You got a professional cameraman, and you got 3 or 4 other anglers, two of which
some are
live in the area, fish this water, and are unbelievably good. A saltwater guy who like catches the hell out of whatever swims, and then you got somebody who's like into fishing and has proven himself as an angler, and they're all they're all fishing with you. So like there is an element of like
pressure.
There's an element of just like I would like to at least not suck. Like I'm very comfortable not being like the best, but I don't want to like crap the bed. And then and you want to be like in the video, you want to like do a good job, you want to be providing content, like you have a job to do, and that includes catching fish. so when it's not going your way, you're like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, so there was a ton of pressure there, so I was feeling that and getting frustrated, and the wind was like just there was a point where Paul was watching me try to unwrap my lines, and like the wind's just destroying my eyeballs and tears are running down my face, and he was like, "You need a snack." And I was like, "No, I need fish." And so anyway, so I got the fish on the tube, right? And then we get to the Carolina rig situation. So Pat catches the fish. I kept in the video because I thought it was hilarious. He was like, "You need to catch fish. I already catch all the fish." And I was like, "Pat, you jerk." And then he gave me his really nice setup. It was a Shimano Stain reel with a Curado rod, which was sick.
He runs a 7.2, I think, medium.
I think medium.
No, it was medium heavy, and because he casts a 1 ounce.
It's super light for a medium heavy. I'll tell you, it felt like picking up a medium light.
Yeah, it was whippy. Light. That's what I'm saying. So, I don't think it was an extra fast. I think it was maybe a fast.
Yeah. So he had a 1 ounce Carolina rig down there with, I think, a 3.5 or a 4 foot leader on mono. And he tied on an offset worm hook at the very end of that. And then the way he had his Carolina rig, by the way, he used a barrel weight. If you guys are familiar, there's different kinds of weights. So you can get like, the tapered nose, like typically worm weights that you use, right? So the tapered nose is going to go through grass better. He was rocking the barrel because he's aiming for these rocky sections.
A thin one.
Pretty accurate. Yeah, it was pretty skinny lead at an ounce, and he had 2 beads below, 2 beads above, and then a swivel on either end of that. Right. So
which is how I do mine because it's easy. And when they break off, you don't lose the whole rig usually. So
potentially you salvage that rig. Yeah. So, he ran that down long leader again, 3.5, 4 feet. So I learned a little.
Oh, it was like 4.5 feet. It was about
way longer than I would have ever considered.
It was our height. And it was huge. And the way he fished it was not how it was a unique way of fishing a Carolina rig. And this is going to actually be really important later on. So the way he fishes it, he casts very, very, very far. Some of it is so that he can stake. Some of that is so he can stake a big claim on boats. So when another boat comes in, he can be like, "No, my circle's giant because I'm casting really far." So he can own more of the water and cover more water.
Yep.
And then he can hit far away areas too, right? Obviously, you can cover more water. So that's why he uses the 1 ounce. But when he casts it out, he bombs it as far as he can bomb it, and then he runs it slack line. And I mean, we're talking so much slack, you wouldn't know if you caught a fish unless you watched the line move.
Yeah.
He's not going to feel it.
Eat it. Yeah.
And then he lets him chew. And then every maybe 30 seconds, he's reeling in, reeling down, checking to see if there's a bite. And then he's going slack again. And he's running it like a gigantic, super elongated Texas rig. It works. Don't get me. I'm not knocking the technique. It works for him. That is probably one of the only techniques that guy is used to using. He had one rod on deck, and that was it. I'm not saying he doesn't do other things. We watched him drop shot. I know he's a good fisherman. This is not a knock. This is just how he fishes for these smallmouth, and it worked great.
And you can tell he does it all the time. I was definitely the big call out there is he showed up at the ramp with really nice boat, and it's got one rod on deck. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. But anyways, like having had the chance to use it and having that technique work, like really changed my mind on it. And I want to call it something else in the video that popped up in my mind. But so he gives me the rod. He actually already had it out. He was like, "Here, just use it." So I grab it. I reel down the slack. I fish it differently than he does. I kept a tight line and I was dragging it, pausing. And you really had to pause when you felt the bump of a rock. And that came up a lot. So like you would like hit a rock and instead of pulling over the rock right away, just wait. And often that was when we were getting smoked.
100%.
Like I said, he had like a 3.5 inch, 4 inch craw pattern on there. It was the Gary Yamamoto, mud flap?
We're not gonna. Are we telling people? Are we telling people this?
No, I said something now. Anyways, it was a craw pattern, right? In goby colors.
No, he didn't. He had a green. Well, the one we fished at the beginning of the day was, but watermelon and green pumpkin, and like there was like a pepper, like a pepper one too. Like that's all we used.
I have one with purple flake though, which is the Gobi pattern from them.
Yes.
So a few different patterns of the exact same plastic, right? So anyway, so you had that on there, like I said, offset worm hook. So it's out there, drag it, bump over rock, and I hooked up right away. Like right away, he handed me that rod within 5 seconds, like I had a fish, and I was like, okay,
and a good one. That's the other thing about using the craw. Using that big hunk of something weeded out a lot of fish for us. We did not catch dinks.
Oh yeah,
like caught. Dinks for us were 2.5+ pounds. That was the smallest fish I think we caught was 2 pounds. Jeff caught one small fish netting the next day, and I'm telling you, and then we caught a couple like perch and stuff, but like that was it. I mean, we were not weeding through small fish at all.
No, not at all. So yeah, so I hooked up then, cast right back out, did it again, and then like was sizing up, and all of a sudden now you're fishing with Jeff. Now I'm happy. Now I didn't need a snack, I didn't need any caffeine. I was just pumped right there.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to call out.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say like. I cut it out of the video because I thought it was too awkward, but it's funny to me. I go, Pat, you changed my mind on this Carolina rig. Like you made me a believer. And then on Paul's camera, you don't hear it on mine, but on Paul's camera, he's like, I told him. you were like, I've been telling this guy about Carolina rig for years. I was like, Pat, you made a believer out of me. And Paul's just like, what the hell, bro?
I've been telling Jeff for a long time. Like, and not that long, but a while. It's a thing.
Yep.
So the Ruben asked a question a little while ago. Which Carolina rig did you tie on, and did you use the 6 cents pre-rigs? I used the 6 cents pre-rig for most of the fishing that I did. Probably well over half the trip, 2/3 of the trip. We'll go with that. 2/3 of the trip. And I used the 1/2 ounce. It wasn't perfect. I really would have liked to have another clacker bead at the front, but it was great and it was steady, solid. I only broke off once and it was on a fish, which that's all you can ask for. That's all you can ask for. So I would recommend those to folks. They don't have great sizes. They have 1/2 ounce, 3/4. I think there's a 1/4 floating around. You can never get a hold of it. So, that's one thing that I would, as the knock I would give. Tying your own is definitely the way to go. When I tied mine on and I did it on my own, I actually was more successful because I was able to tie a longer section. I got hung up a lot less and I made more noise, I think, in general, but they're great. And I would recommend them. I think they're actually a value. They're very durable. They worked really well and they're easy. They're just easy. You keep 4 of them in the, in your box. You just grab one when you want it. They're pretty small. So I would actually recommend them. They're solid. Yeah. I think there was some other questions that came in after that one that I missed. I want to check real quick.
We'll come back to them. Chaz got them somewhere in here. Fishing with Gramps is here. What's up, Fishing with Gramps? How you doing?
Oh, B. Dooley asked, did the guide tie on all your lures? He tied on like one of Jeff's, and by tying, he just gave him his rig. That was it. So the guide, and again, I'm using air quotes on a guide, and this is not to denigrate him as like his skills as a guide. So I'm using a guide because his job was not to guide.
He's like a local guide.
Well, he's
not like I get paid to be a fishing guide at all times.
The capacity that he is. He's a tournament guy, but the capacity in which he was brought on for this trip specifically was a person who was gonna get paid to let us hang out on his boat and have him show us some fish and put us on fish. So I thought of it very much as like, hey, let's say Jeff knew some people. They were coming down. They wanted to catch fish and have a good time. And Jeff was like, "Yo, can you bring your kayak out and help put these dudes on some fish? Just like let them know what to do. Make sure they don't get lost. And let's have some fun." Like that's the
fish too, and just hang out with them.
Exactly. Like that's the capacity that I was thinking about this, and so I was trying to be very respectful of his space on his boat. I was trying to be very respectful of the fact that like I'm sure he was getting paid, but like he could have been watching hockey and hanging out on his own or fishing on his own, and like I'm like that's and then we were not paying him like exorbitant amounts of money to like for a specific experience. This was dude came out, drove a long way to bring his stuff out, and yeah, sure he got paid, but it was like he's not out here like as a professional guide for this trip. He's being a cool dude. He's dealing with a couple of nerds who don't fish the water, and we're using all his plastics. Ooh. So that's
we used a ton of his plastics.
So I just want to be really clear. Like when I say guide, that's what I mean. Like he was there to, have a good time. He was fishing with us, And he was not like a professional, like in a capacity in that day, a professional guide. So
yeah. So, but all in all, he was a pretty rad dude. So
very cool dude. It's a very cool guy. Very nice to us for sure.
That gives you guys some insights on the Carolina. And like I said, how we were fishing it, Paul and I were fishing it, was on a tighter line, kind of letting it go through the heavier current sections. But if you felt a knock, a little tick over a rock, like we would pause. It was like a pretty slow drag. I mean, we were spending, I don't know, 60 to 90 seconds per cast, and maybe more sometimes.
Yep.
And just taking our time. And then when you got hit, like it wasn't the subtle bites we're getting right now in Michigan. It was like boom.
No. If you watch Greg, the best one was that Gary Yamamoto craw, and it wasn't close. I think it's 100%. The flapper.
Yep.
So you can watch my catches, and I can't say about Jeff's. I didn't watch that close, but I just know that what happened with my Carolina set, the way I run Carolina rigs, I run it like a Texas rig. Big, tall, vertical drag, and then I'm slacklining it for 5-10 seconds. Then I'm tightening it up, and and then now that I know the weight is down, I reel down until I feel tension, and then I'm hanging out waiting for the slightest little bite, and then it's like swing away, big hook set, because I was using a big aught, like 2-3 aught hook, 2-aught offset, and
I was on 2-aught,
and I could see the hit, and I could see Jeff's hits. And I know that Patrick could too, because he would call it out a couple times on Jeff. He'd be like, fish. And then bam. And like you can see the hit in the rod, and a medium heavy 7.6. So that's the difference between Patrick's rig and our rigs. He's running a longer rod that's more of a medium, and he's running it slackline almost the entire time and just checking for bites every minute or two, knowing that they're chewing on that big craw. So it's just a different way to run it. And we learned a lot about Carolina fishing in a very short period of time.
Oh yeah.
And I was Ruben asked what the color was. We used all different colors, mostly watermelon base, green pumpkin
natural
base,
colors,
and Gobi natural, like a gold base with maybe some purple at the most.
Yeah. So I was fishing it your way that you just talked about, but I was also just like dragging it sideways, and that kept the line tight through the current. I felt a lot better, so I was sensing more bites that way, but that's what put the numbers in the boat for me that day. But at any rate, we had a great day that day. So we who's in here? Smallmouth Crush, what's up, dude?
Oh, what's up, dude?
No freaking way. You have a show right now? Everybody's bouncing out of Monster Bass right now. Monster Bass crew, welcome.
Yep.
So yeah, like Carolina rigged, like knocked him dead. Basically the rest of the day we fished that. Paul would every now and then like pull that shaky head back out. But for the most part, like the rest of the numbers for all three of us, Pat included, came from the Carolina rig. And we were fishing all sorts of different spots. We went to a spot that had like a 25-foot drop off that day. And I caught
shell
a nice
beds.
one there.
Shell beds in the deep
shell
water.
Beds.
Yeah.
Dude, it was, and for me, like I mentioned in this video, and you guys know this, like I had no freaking clue. I never even fished St. Clair. So I like big bodies of water to me are just not familiar territory. I was very outside of my comfort zone. And I mean, that's, I think, in addition to the pressure of like, I'm on this trip, I got to catch these big fish, was part of the reason that first 2.5 hours, like really sucked for me, like was rough. But once I came out of that, like I was fine the rest of that day. Next day, I was way more comfortable, way more in my element, and like was good to go. So I now know if I go on a destination trip, I need 2 days at least. That's like my bare minimum. So I could suck for half a day, fish well for half a day, and then hopefully fish good the next day. But having 2 is nice too, because then you can have a good day and a bad day. Hopefully, like you got a shot, So I mean, that's how I felt about it. I mean, anything else from like day one you want to hit, other than the fact that we got our butts kicked at the end?
Every single time that somebody asked us what we were catching on, we would tell them Carolina, and everyone goes, "Huh?" Like everyone was like, "What?" Wait,
well, they said so like it's like a really long Ned rig, and then you were like, and a shaky head, and they're like, so a really tall Ned rig. So it's like pretty much, because like Larry and Grubbs, all their bigs were caught on Ned rigs, right? And like smallmouth can say it right here, but smallmouth was crushing them on Ned rigs like most of the time. I know he had a few like go-to moves, but I saw him catch on Ned rigs like Chaz, where you go?
Chaz just dipping out.
Chaz just like dipped on us. I'm like, yo, are we still alive right now? Should I be worried about this show at this moment? Our man behind the mirror is gone.
The mirror? You're good.
Are we still live? Okay, good. We'll carry on then. You do your thing back there behind that curtain, sir.
The outcome of day 1 was Fish and Grubs
18.
and Larry Melton Jr.
Bag.
Yeah, Fish and Grubs and Larry Melton Jr. had a very respectable bag. They had 2 big fish. We had a bunch of PBs.
Yeah, there's a lot of PBs all around.
Rafi, and for those who don't know, for those who don't know Rafi is he's like the CMO. Can we call him the CMO? Is that what he is for Monster Bass?
He's the second dude in charge.
He's like the number 2,
the SDI. See,
he's like he is Rick's right hand man. How about that? Is that fair?
Yes, that's what I would say.
And that is who Rafi is. So he's very much in the inner workings of Monster Bass.
Goofy, hilarious, really fun dude to hang out with.
Hilarious dude. His sense of humor is incredible. And he caught a really nice smallmouth. I think
he got a 5, right? 4.5, 5.
I think it was 4.5 or 5. It was 4+ for sure. And then Smallmouth Crush and Eric just absolutely slapped him. So they finished second by, it was a close second.
By that much.
Now our boat, we only had how many fish did we have? We only had 4 fish or 3 fish, I think.
We had 4 at the end. 4. We marked an 18 and a half.
Yeah.
So like we did fine. We would have needed like a.
We were not going to win. I did the math.
We were not going to win no matter what. So I
did the math on it. I did the math on our catches. We had a 4.5. We had a 4.10. We had a bunch of unlimited 3.5s. What's up, Devo? We had a 3.5. We had a 3.8. So we would have been somewhere in like the 18, 19, or no, in the 22-ish range. But we were not winning that day. So, but I will say this for us, after watching some of the other videos, I can't wait for everyone else's videos to come out. I'm like legitimately waiting for the other videos to drop because I want to see how the other boats worked. Yeah, I'm really pumped to watch.
We weren't with them at all. If you guys saw that in the video, there was one point, and I thought it was funny. Like the one time we saw Grubbs, he pulled up, and I caught a fish between our boat and Smallmouth Crushes. He was on the other side, and Grubbs was over here. So like that was the 3rd fish that we had in our in the tank. Like we only had.
Yeah, it was bonkers.
It's pretty bad. So that was the 3rd fish we put in the live well, and then the 4th fish we put in the live well was my last second catch.
Yeah,
which was also like a hype moment from this trip for me because Sam Moore is like all the boats were kind of waiting for Will's boat. Like once Will got in, then we were all gonna weigh in and do like our little video weigh in and all.
No one wanted to stop fishing. Every single person was like, "Okay, we're calling it 3 o'clock, 3:45." Everyone's like, "Lines up," but they're still reeling. Like
Travis caught a fish, and then I caught a fish. As Sam Moore was like, "Put the rods away, let's go pull over."
We're all like, "Yeah, sure, okay. One more cast."
And then I got that one, and then we start pulling over, and then Will's boat shows up, and then Will caught like a 5 right there. That's a freaking spot. I was like, dude.
Well, no, that's where
all fishing. This is what you get when you put these guys together.
A lot of competitive people. But like I said, everyone was very what?
Hang on, Devo's just said nerd equals Ned earns respect daily.
I love it. We're gonna have to maybe that'll be the next shirt. No, that's the next year. We're gonna have to come up with like whatever the acronym for nerds is. I like that a lot. We could throw the S in there too. I think you can do nerds. It can be plural. I love that so much. That's awesome. The so the weigh-in was a ton of fun. We all went to dinner.
It was hilarious.
And then we had a rockin' night. So we had some dad pops late into the night, we got to have Smallmouth Crush was kind enough to like provide very, very insightful perspectives, and it was actually really it was unbelievably fun. Like you get on a lot of these trips, and like you've seen every single person here, including Rick. You've seen all of those folks like on video, like and they have big channels and they have big followings, and they're doing things that you respect, and you know them as anglers, and you don't know how things are going to like necessarily shake out when you're just like chilling with somebody like that for like a really long period of time. So you find yourself all of a sudden like stuck in a room with everybody, and they're like, hey, we're just like eating dinner and hanging out and like being cool people. And you're like,
normal cool people,
normal awesome people. That was honestly that was one of my favorite parts of the whole trip. Which is, I mean, like we were laughing our butts off. I mean, I laughed literally for like 7 hours straight. It was too much fun.
All 3 nights. Even the first one, we're all like just kind of antsy for the next day. all 3 nights, and the third night was the most relaxed because we're all just like, we're done now. Like we're a blast to hang out with these guys. Like I will die on that hill. Like it was super fun. Many moments that we can't even share in here with that, but like Paul at one point was laughing hysterically in a stairwell, like this tiny stairwell,
crying, laughing so hard, tears just streaming down my face.
But anyway, so this was all during like that conversation with Travis, and like Travis, it was just he was ready to go toe to toe with anybody.
Well, he broke out his customary black cherry quart of ice cream, as a quick dessert. I loved it so much.
It was so fun and entertaining.
There was a question, I think it was from B Dooley. Thanks for bringing all the questions, B Dooley. Any angler, fisher person that you would fangirl if you met?
Well, I mean, I did this past trip already over all these people. You know what? Debo's fishing. If I could go fishing with Debo, 100%. Any person that I haven't talked to yet. Like we got to talk to Fluke Master. I kind of fangirled there for sure.
I think he says meeting, so it has to be like face to face.
In person?
Yeah.
Well, shoot, any of the guys I just said, but I don't know. I'd have to think.
I'm gonna be.
I met a lot of cool people at ICAST, and I was like.
So I was gonna say, like, I'm not one to like. I don't know if I have that. Maybe I'm like too prideful, but like I'm not sure that I have it in me to like fanboy. Like I think if it happened, I would kind of like want to, but then I'd be like, I don't want to look like a dork, and so I like. And I'm saying this is wrong. This is not what I should be doing. But like, I think my brain would be like, pump the brakes, kid. Like, we're all human beings. It's okay. And maybe I shouldn't do that. But like, I don't really know. I met Seth Fighter. We like embraced.
We took a picture with Seth Fighter.
We embraced, and I did not like.
Twinsies.
I didn't go that far. I feel like I like freaked out or anything. I was just like, oh, that was really cool, and it was awesome. But that's probably one person. That's probably as close as it would get. Like Seth Fighter. One, we have similar mustaches. And I think that I like to think that we are similar in that he's like a down to earth dude who just wants to fish and hammer him dead. And like, that's it. And like, he seems like just like a dude's dude. So I feel like he's right up my alley. I have a lot of respect for him. And that would be somebody that's probably as close as I can come up with on the spot. Great question though.
He's just like the better you in all ways, shapes, and forms.
Every single one. Nah, I think I weigh more than him though.
Got it.
I think I weigh more than he does.
You have way better calves than he does. Don't worry about it. Cankles, they'll get you far. G-Fun Kim with $5 super chat. Thank you so much, my friend. Spinnerbait Season Q. Is there a jackhammer of spinnerbaits? I always have trouble with blades spinning on a slow retrieve. Okay, so you're talking about like a burner spinnerbait? Is that what?
No, I think he's the opposite. Mean? I think he wants to know if there is like the best of the best spinnerbait that's like, if you're gonna buy one, it's so good, and which one's gonna run well on a slow retrieve. I think that's the question.
Okay, great question. There's
lots of
good ones out there. I think that's tough. I'll say like for the money. Let me give you just the for the money. My favorite is the Z-Man Sling Blades. It's like $7, $7.99. And is it the best of the best of the best? No, definitely not. If you get like, but it's the one that I use the most, and I have the most consistency with, and I just love, and I think durable as heck. I will say like you got to take care of the blades with that one a little bit more. They do have spinnerbaits that have like stainless steel blades that like you just don't have to worry about, like Terminator, which is a Bass Pro brand, right? I think something like that. Anyways, so I think so. I don't know, or am I thinking of something else? Whatever.
Yeah, I don't.
So those are fine. I'm not the biggest fan of their like skirts though. I think their skirts are garbage, and that they fall off really easily. Like we caught a pike on the Terminator. We were testing a bunch of these, by the way, last year. You guys, video we never released, but we tested like 10 different brands of spinnerbaits. So this is kind of fresh in my head, but still from that video, my favorite that I caught all the fish on was my bluegill colored gold bladed double blade spinnerbait from Z-Man, right? The sling blades. But we tried the Strike King Tour Pro grade, which are like $10. Those are sweet. I have a 3/4 ouncer I still use for like flipping and deeper fishing, which I like. We tried Terminator. We tried, I'm thinking of, is it Laser Eye or whatever? That's the Bass Pro one.
Yes. Terminator, they're like mostly a jig company, and they make awesome jigs.
They do, but they make nice spinners too. We used one.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, the skirt was trash though.
Yes,
like it did just rip off.
Mm-hmm.
And then what else did we use? We used a bunch.
My
War Eagles are sweet. I like those.
Yeah, I don't have a ton of experience with the War Eagles. I fished 2 of them in total, so like that's my level of experience. I've heard good things.
Yeah, they're pretty.
The Z-Man ones are surprisingly good. It's like I would expect those to not be as good as everything else Z-Man makes because it seems out of character almost for the like the company. They're very good. My favorite, it's because I can find them. They're very consistent, and I do like the head shape. I find that it moves through grass really, really well. And there's a lot of options. The striking tournament grade spinnerbaits I like a lot. They have like all the things that I look for in a spinnerbait. They have a lot of different colors, and again, they're just very consistent. So like every time I get one, like I know what I'm getting. I've never had any issues. They do tend to be like bigger and bulkier, which I actually like. I find that like a bigger, bulkier head, unless I'm trying to get way down in weight, actually works better because I can it's just more mass to slow things down. You can run those really slow. So that's what I have the most of in my. You can go in my box right now. I have everything from a 1/4 ounce to 3/4 ounce. I think I have 2 1 ounces in that striking tour grade.
Yeah, those are legit. Caught my first pike on one of those.
Yeah.
Well, no, not my first pike. I caught that with you. That was a different time. My first like decent pike on one of those. I'll say.
Good question.
Yeah, great question. There's a lot out there. Highly recommend maybe trying a few of the ones we just talked about, and then you pick your favorite, right?
Yeah. There's another question. Was it Rockablades? It was. What are your 3 go-to lures for cold weather? He says this is our first fall winter fishing, and I have no idea what to focus on or try and learn to use. I'm assuming you mean you and your son, right? Rockablades. Hopefully, I got that right.
Probably, yeah. So fishing open water, cold weather right now, what are we using? Go-tos? 1 for 1? You want to go like top 3s?
Sure.
Okay, so number 1 is a Ned rig. I'm just catching all my fish on it right now.
Number 1 for me.
Like 100%.
Yeah, number 1 for me is probably a chatterbait.
Yes, that's a good option. Okay. Next one, I would go. Yeah, I'd say chatterbait.
Yeah. Number 2.
I lost another jackhammer the other day after you left.
So if you would like to get free, if you'd like to get free jackhammers, be within 25 yards of Jeff, and you can get a free one once a week.
You got a magnet with you, like you good. You can get. I'm just handing them out like for Halloween. I still have 10 in the box, but like
you had 20.
I had 20 yesterday, so watch out, world. Anyway, so okay, so chatterbaits.
He did lose one of mine.
Gone.
My number 2 is probably a lipless.
That was going to be my number 3. I want to learn blade baits more because I think that they can definitely be more productive if I can get good at them. And if I run them the same as a lipless, I know they can do it. So I just got to play with it a little bit more. But caught a nice pike on a lipless the other day. The one that actually just came in this month's Monster Bass box, I caught a fish on. Which is sweet. It was a decent pike. It's the Arc lipless. Those are Arc baits, man.
Oh, I am. They're ever since the first one that I picked up that I got out of a box. I was just like, these are higher quality than they have any right to be. They're just awesome, and every bait that I get has lived up to the standard. I'm a big fan, and like I'm not ready to like put my life on the line for them, but they are really, really nice. They really are.
100%. There you go.
Am I? Wait, do we go? We got them all.
No, yeah, I would. Got one more.
I would give one more. I would say a good old finesse jig, and that's only because I'm limited to 3. I like a lot of like shaky head be right behind the jig. I just think the jig's more versatile. So if I had to have 3, that's probably the next one that would be like you could catch any size fish, like any size fish with a finesse jig, so like 1/4 ounce or less.
There you go. There's some options. Go try them out. See if you can get one of them. Have we ever, so fish in the Southeast, have you guys used a Huddleston or a trash fish? I absolutely love them. No, I haven't. I don't know. Maybe just guys up here don't really use them that much. I'd be interested to find out. I hear about them all the time, but I don't personally use them. I see all my Southern boys using them. So not a us thing, I would say. What else we got down there? Lots of questions here. Oh, David Ellers, what's up? So we got, for all of us, including Debo's and Smallmouth Crush, you guys can answer in chat. Favorite Texas rigged soft plastic to throw to follow up a missed frog blow up. I don't know that I use that technique that much, so I don't have much to contribute here, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would throw one on a missed frog blow up, but I get the question.
I have done this. I have done this. Weightless, the it's not the Z-Man one, topwater. It was the Big Bite Baits BB kicker. That's what it was.
Oh, really?
We did this. I did it on accident. So we were fishing a topwater lake near where I used to live in Lowell. And we go to this lake. We used to go there a lot for frogs. We had a few lakes that were like pretty decent over there. But that one in particular, I was throwing frogs that morning. We both were, and we were fishing frogs from the box. And I was throwing might have been the Z-Man. I was trying to get a bite on the Z-Man with the popper frog, or the Hendrix, something like that. Anyways, so got a few missed explosions on it, just blowing up on it, and then I had weightless rigged BB kicker that I just cast in right after that and got bit on that. So not on purpose. But if you were talking about something that actually sinks, not using that either. I was back topwater, just a little more subtle, and I got the hit.
Yeah, and Smallmouth Crush just came in, 5-inch Senko if it's Texas rigged. To be honest, I'm probably going a jig because it's rare that I would throw a Texas rig back in there. I'm probably going a jig, and I'm probably doing something fairly large. Depends on the blow up. Like if I see a big blow up that I think is a big fish, I'm probably going jig. If it's something that is and on that jig, I'm throwing a big trailer, like a craw trailer. But yeah, if it's not a big fish and I had to throw a Texas rig, I would what's the most fish catching this thing in a Texas rig? I mean, it's going to be a Senko. Kind of a tough question, actually. Definitely not my area of expertise. I agree with Jeff on that one. I would defer to the other much more experienced anglers in the room, Debo and 100%. Smallmouth. So definitely go with their answer.
Yeah, the 1-2 punch, by the way, there's a 1-2 punch for like every bait. So do some research on that. And here's why we're not the fish catchingest machines in the room. Like, I didn't even know about a 1-2 punch till like a year ago. So yeah, having something on backup, great idea. Also, not something I do that often in a kayak. I mean, I can see having them on the deck of your bass boat being more easy to be like boom, 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 because you kind of like have a bunch of rods like rigged up, easy to access. I might have to set this one down, grab one behind me, so it's not exactly like get this back in there, right?
Yeah,
it's like give me a second, let the fish settle, I guess, and then trying to get back in there. It's a little bit different for sure.
I don't usually follow up on frogfish quickly.
Nope,
I really just don't.
You just use a lunker hunt spider and you catch them anyways. All right, that one's for Debo. Moving on. So back, we'll get more questions in a second. But
I was gonna say, can we go to day 2? We're already at like 9:20.
That's what I'm saying. So we need to jump to day 2 here. So you guys are gonna get a decent amount. So we'll try to stick to the stuff that you're not gonna see in Paul's video. But we included the B-roll from the Cabela's pit stop in tomorrow's video because I just didn't have room in the first video. So this kept it under 40,000 minutes. But you're going to get a little behind the scenes of the Cabela's trip. It was fun. Paul caught a fish in a drainage pond. It was hilarious. So we did that. And on day 2, we were pumped. Paul had a great day. I eventually turned into a great day from day 1. We're rolling into day 2. We're like, let's do this thing. The goal was big fish at first, and then became big fish plus biggest bag. So it was, again, basically the same tournament, but now a prize for
big fish kicker,
person with the biggest fish, right?
Yeah.
So we go out. We end up with the same guy.
Hold on. Setting the stage again. Okay. Same exact launch point. We fished almost the same spot.
Yeah, same spot.
The biggest difference was this day was much colder in the morning. It was about 28, 29 degrees.
No
when we woke up. We woke up at the same time, 6:37, and no wind. So like, and then it got sunny by what, 2 hours in, 9:30, maybe even earlier, 8:30, hour and a half in. It was sunny and it was beautiful. So the exact opposite day that we had on day 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. 100%. So I do want to call this out because you guys keep calling it out in chat here. So apparently Aaron Martin's passed away. If that was today, FLW fisherman, like pro fisherman. So I mean that
Really?
is extremely unfortunate and very upsetting to hear. So I mean, thoughts go out to
RIP.
his family, and
Seriously.
yeah, definitely. So appreciate you guys letting us know about that. So day 2 here, we had a very different day for one very specific reason that I want to hit on, and we told you guys we'd bring this up on like our last podcast, but our guide decided to be the pro series star, basically, of a 4-boat friendly throwdown tournament. So basically what happened, and you'll see it kind of in the video, Paul had a very frustrating morning. I only didn't because I caught my current PB, my 4th PB of the trip, within 5 minutes. So I got my 5-minute fish. It wasn't 5 minutes. Again, it was a couple dozen minutes, but like I got my fish, and it was on a Ned rig with a TRD bugs and Canada craw. So it's like green pumpkin base, red and gold flake, or copper and gold flake. And kind of lucked into that. I was throwing it on a Woo Tungsten Ned rig, which I hadn't thrown Neds on in a while. I just wanted to go tungsten that day, heavy, 1/4 ounce, get down there, even though we didn't have all the wind we had the day before. But it worked out for me. So I just kind of like hopped that thing around, and that one was a 4, I want to say like a 432 or something. So it was like 4.3 pounder. It's like, yes, I've never caught a 4+ pound smallmouth. So that was my big win of the trip. I was pumped about that. Then Pat caught like a decent fish, and I had my line out, and I helped him net this fish, and Paul's fishing off the back, and I go back to my rod, I pick it up, and there's a fish on. So I caught another fish right then. So it was like a hectic little time in the morning. Unfortunately, I didn't have my camera rolling for that part, so that sucked.
I kind of side-eyed it with my camera and did my best.
Yeah, you get a little flash, and Paul kind of goes, "What?" And then it happened. But yeah, so I netted his fish, caught another fish, and then I got my camera back on. I was kind of crappy with the camera the second day, gonna be honest. There's quite a few missing catches, but I also went on this like multi-species tear where I caught a carp. I caught what we think is like a shiner or something. You guys tell me from the footage. It'll be up for grabs in the comments. I caught 2 or 3 perch. I caught a largemouth bass, and then I caught a bunch of smallmouth. Like there weren't an insane amount of catches. I think we caught way more fish the first day, but like I probably put a dozen fish in the boat, and only 3 or 4 of them were smallmouth that day. Luckily, the first one was the big one, so I was like, got that, out of the bag. I think a lot of guys had a pretty tough day. Like the bite was tougher the second day across the board. Everybody kind of struggled with it. The thing that made it even harder for us, though, is we started out trying to fish Neds, and you guys know a Ned rig is a slower technique. We weren't able to slow down though, because our guide, like I said, was gosh dang Dale Earnhardt Jr. over here, and he was just cruising the flats, doing his thing with his Carolina rig, and we were asking him, but again, we're kind of like, now we're co-anglers. We're not here for a tour. We're co-anglers, so we're not in charge. It's his boat, right? So we're trying not to be rude, but we're like, I mean, if we work together, we can put a big bag together. Maybe we can help. And he's like, "Nah, you guys can't help." And we're like, "Let us Ned rig fish." And he's like, "Nah, we're gonna move into the Carolina." And he was just like,
it's really important. Jeff's kind of like skirting it. He was fishing like he would fish a tournament, and we mentioned that the way he was fishing a Carolina rig, the way he fishes it, he's slacklining it. So what he's actually doing, he's casting really far, and then he'll sort of like work the boat towards his lure that's just out there slacklined, and he'll have like 15, 20 yards of slack line out. He'll reel it down, check, see if it has a fish, look around for the next spot to cast. Yeah. So he's actually trolling a ton and moving a ton with a lure that's way far out. And he's not fishing like a Ned rig where you would cruise up on these fish, find a spot, get as close as you can, get to the as far as you can where you can accurately cast, and then you try and pick apart those fish from a slight distance, like 15, 20 yards, 30 yards. Not even 20 yards. And it was not possible. The irony was we were catching the fish.
He wasn't catching any fish
at that time. But he was the only one fishing because we were not we were not able to fish the way he was moving the boat. So it actually made things
And
very difficult.
He was missing fish. That
was the other thing.
Like, he missed probably a dozen fish that day. It was insane.
He missed more than he caught. Absolutely.
Absolutely, because he was fishing really fast. So like first day, I was super stoked about this guy. Second day, I was like, Paul was fuming, and I was like a little frustrated.
The reason I was getting upset was because I was like cursed. I could not.
You did
the whole day. Yeah. The whole day, the entirety of the day. It didn't matter what I was fishing. Didn't matter how I was fishing it. At one point, I was like, I'm just not gonna fish. Like I picked up the Carolina rig, and I was like, I'm just gonna do whatever the guide is doing because that's how the boat's moving. Like let's just do that.
That's what we both resorted to, and it didn't work.
Could not. I could not take my wallet out, reach up into the sky, and purchase a fish. It was brutal, and I mean brutal. And that was the whole. Honestly, that was all of day 2. Very tough fishing. Very tough fishing for me.
I mean, you ended up getting into a few and like settled in after that. But I mean, towards the end of the trip, neither of us caught any fish. Like we switched to the main river. We dragged a drop shot. There's a funny sequence where like I got tangled on a guide's line, and I had to take time to untangle it while his line was 25 feet down.
Yeah,
and he caught a fish right there. The only fish we caught out there on the main river.
I am interested though. Travis is still here. Hopefully, I would love to hear Travis's view of how the second day went because he was Ned rig fishing. I want to know
what they did.
He was Ned rig fishing. Yep. He definitely knew a lot more of the spots than what I feel like we knew or had access to. And I know he went to a spot that we didn't go to that I wanted to go to. And I know that he caught a ton of fish. I would love to have him say, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how his day went because I bet you it's like an 8. I bet you it's like an 8. And everyone else's would be like, 6. Because our bag at the end of the day was actually very good. It was we had the second biggest bag, and we were only, if we didn't throw back one of our biggest fish, which we accidentally did, we would have only been like
through frustration.
We would only have been like a half pound off of.
We would have been real close,
We were a half pound, maybe 3/4 of a pound off of Travis's bag, so we actually ended up with a good day. I would love to hear how Travis's perspective on the day went, though, because everyone else was like, tough day. Not like it was the day before, so it'd be interesting.
Debo says we should have just trolled the lunker hunt spider, and I mean, you're right.
You know what, Debo?
While when we come doing that, I could have just dragged a spider.
No, when we come to fish with you, and it's going to happen. When we come to fish with you, you know what the video is going to be?
Challenge. It's gonna be 1 hour challenge. Spiders only.
Spiders only.
Devo actually Burly fishing.
Hold on, Devo, can we do a spiders only challenge like next year? When actually I'll do it now. I don't even care. And you can and we both remotely are gonna film a separate video, but the rules are you have X amount of time and a whole day, and you can only use lunker on spiders. I'll send you 6 of them.
He sent me one in our box the other day. So it's like, I got your only spider, dude. You're gonna have to go pick up a few. Oh, he's gonna
be looking around for his like medium bait caster. Like, where the hell did I put?
Dude, I mean, I should have just, as the guide was speeding around though, to his point, trolled like a head and torpedo or something. Like
we tried
2 rods in the water.
We tried. I put topwater to work for probably 45 minutes to an hour.
This was the day that you fished everything that you owned, and the day before was the day I fished everything.
I made a rule. I said everything gets an hour. I tried probably 6 different things that day. It was brutal. It was brutal. I mean, for me. Yep. So yeah, like I said, would love to hear. Maybe I'll see it in Travis's video, I'm sure, but I definitely want to see that. I want to see his video super bad. I told you, I'm waiting for all these videos to drop. Like, I'm waiting for every single one.
Yeah, and this was also the day like Larry and Fishing Grubs like had an amazing first day, and they went like sub 20 on the.
They had a tough second day.
Where we were.
Tough second day.
But they caught a lot of dinks. I think they did decent on numbers, but yeah, I mean it's.
Devo goes, I'm not fishing that. If you beat me on a spider, I'll give away all of my bait casters.
That's funny. I love it.
Can I pay you? Is there an amount of money that I can pay you for your time?
How much does it cost to pay for a sponsored video on Debo's fishing? I'm just
I want
to as a friend.
I want to go.
What,
I want to go out so bad. What if we came out sometime and we did like 3 days, and we were like, but one of the days has to be only spiders, or like a portion of a day. What if we?
Let's ultimate clickbait. It will be like, we fished with only bugs, and it's like a handful of just like lunker hunt bug baits.
I mean, there's about a dozen of them. As long as I don't have to use the dragonfly, that is the worst lure that's ever been invented.
Ooh, the dragonfly challenge. This the lunker hunt bug challenge, and it's just
lunker hunt bug challenge.
They have that kit that's like, I think it's 3 of them, and it's like, God. I think it's the spider, the dragonfly.
Yes,
probably the yappa bug, or maybe that beetle, the wakebait beetle.
It's got to be
hilarious.
Oh my! Do we need to do that? We really need to do that.
Yeah.
I think we all know if you catch anything on the dragonfly, you're actually blessed, and you should go fish professional tournaments because you are guaranteed you are blessed. No one catches on that. I want to see. Sure. I want to see video evidence of that.
Tyler Chandler, your question was about the jackets we were wearing, the bright ones. Paul's got an orange one.
Yeah.
I got a.
I have it right. I actually have it right here.
It's Blackfish, right? Is it Blackfish, or is that the documentary about SeaWorld? What? I know it is, but is it also called Blackfish? What's this one called? The brand.
Oh, it's Blackfish, yeah.
Thank you. See? Told you, shots.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways,
so the brand is I'll be out of town. Brutal.
That weekend. I'm busy. What about next time? Busy.
Still sick. Here's the brand. It's called Blackfish. This is
a fatal. I'm dead. Don't call me again. All right.
This is a windproof pullover. It is fleece lined, like the whole thing. Like this is behind the hood.
Warm and cozy.
The arms are, and then even this it's got zippers on like the hoodie part, like the kangaroo pouch,
which is also fleece lined.
And it also has these like neoprene cuffs, which is actually one of my favorite features. It's a little bit. It's like $120, I think. It's not. I mean, it's not free, but I will say,
Chartreuse was on sale. Just want to tell you.
This is legitimately one of the probably most versatile, useful things that I now have. I've been wearing it like every day that I've gone fishing since I've got it, actually. So if you fish in the north, man, everything from ice, fall, spring doesn't matter. It's definitely got a place.
Official Burly hype man _, heck no, imposter gotta go. The tribe has spoken. The imposter must go. Best show ever.
I actually think that's fair. I think that I didn't want to acknowledge him or her because I didn't want to give credence to somebody who's just gonna like steal a really good idea. Yeah, we don't want that in here. I'm gonna say it right now.
Wait, what are we talking about? Oh, there's another. How did you miss this?
So someone. Yeah, there he is. He's already on here. He said it. He says, "I'm an imposter. Look, I don't want to alienate anybody, but we don't steal ideas around here. If you're hilarious, you get to be hilarious on your own merit. You're gonna have to find a new idea." No, we're not going to ban him unless he refuses to change his name to something else. That's all.
All we're saying is you have 5 seconds to change your name.
It wasn't a big deal for you to change it in the first place, so we're going to have to go back.
2, 1. All right, ban him. All right, going on to the giveaway. Let's do this. Better not get banned before the giveaway, dude. Better change your name. All right, now we're not banning people. Get out of town, you nerds. It's all love here. It's all love here. And besides, we know who the real one is anyways, because he's got a badge. A nice, shiny badge.
We love you for it. Thanks.
That is amazing.
See, this is why the community is good.
Scholar.
It's all out of love.
We love you guys. We love the community. We don't ban people. We just say, hey, cut it out. All right, so let's do a giveaway. Hey, just change your name. Is there anything I can do about it? No,
just change your face. Is there anything I can do about it? No, change your face.
So, something about your name.
Just want you to change it.
All right, so we're gonna do a giveaway now, you guys. We're gonna do, I guess, should we do Slow Rolling Thunder or from this trip themed?
I think we'll take turns coming up with questions on Slow Rolling Thunder. How about that?
Okay, we're gonna make it up on the spot. Slow Rolling Thunder, four, 5, 6, 7, maybe 20 questions, and we're giving away a $25 gift card to MonsterBass.com. And thank you to Monster Bass for sponsoring the trip that we just talked about this entire time. And you guys can see part 2 video tomorrow if you haven't seen part 1, which I know a lot of you haven't. It is posted yesterday, so it's up there right now. So you can go check that out. You can watch Fish and Grub's perspective on this. Smallmouth Crush is going to be posting his. He's got Epic Eric in his boat, and then Larry Melton Jr. should be posting something. But I know Larry is backed up on videos. He's mentioned it on the trip, so I don't know when his is going to drop. I think he just dropped one about his Old Town kayak, so
he did.
Stay tuned for his as well. But you can get all our perspectives. It was a banger of a trip. Big shout outs to Monster Bass. Fantastic company. Rick was awesome. He fed us a whole bunch of times, and he didn't even charge my card for dinner this time, which he accidentally did at iCast. But he paid me back. I was like, $500 dinner. Wow.
The imposter changed his name to I am the imposter. Good job. Now I will never forget you.
Dude, that's straight. That's straight owning it. First of all,
you have to leave the typo now forever. It's perfect.
I'll leave it. Oh, do you have a typo? Whatever. Worth it.
Oh, Smallmouth Crush said it was a 7 out of 10. Numbers were down. I thought we would have caught more. Did I say 7 out of 10? I think I said 7.
You said 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. I was close.
Roll the tape.
Pretty close.
All right. You're first. Slow Rolling Thunder, go.
Oh, I have to ask the... Hold on, Chaws.
My question for Paul for Slow Rolling Thunder. Wait, what did you say?
Was there a question? I don't know the question.
No, my question was best
Chaz gets a question.
Costume that you guys seen on Halloween.
Oh.
Decent question.
Tough
for me. I didn't trick or treat super hard, and he lives in Halloween Town, USA, basically.
I did. There were a whole bunch. So one of the good ones. One of the kids in my neighborhood, their parents like made them a truck, like like homemade with lights, and it was like towing things, and he like put it over his body, and he like turn the lights on and off, and I was like, that's good. I mean, it was just like sheer ingenuity, and it actually looked like a truck. Hard. It was actually pretty rad. So cardboard truck was pretty dope. And then I'm trying to think of some of the other good ones. There was a crew of high school kids that were Teletubbies, and they had like the real Teletubbies costumes that just looked like fun. Like they were having a lot, and I mean a lot of fun together. That was pretty awesome. Oh, my neighbor was 13L from Stranger Things.
Oh, yeah.
He nailed it. And I mean, nailed it. That was a good one. I also really appreciate all of the inflatable costumes. The girls, there are 4 girls who were my neighbors, and one of them had like the dino, but she was doing like cartwheels and stuff. And watching that happen with a blow up like T-Rex was honestly priceless. It was incredible. So I think those are probably the highlights. I will say though, my son was Thomas the Tank Engine, which he will probably be for another 5 years. And I was stunned at the number of people that were like genuinely in love with the Thomas outfit. Because I was like, this is a lame outfit. But like, like a lot of people were like, oh my God, he's Thomas. And like, we're very pumped about it, like adults. So that was surprising.
That's awesome. So I will say, I will say, the inflatable, definitely. I saw a kid riding a Velociraptor inflatable. And then I also always appreciate the alien holding a child in
that's the best.
It's a pretty fantastic one. But the best costume I saw was an entire family, and they were the entire like Halloween Town from Nightmare Before Christmas.
That's good.
And
that would get you.
The mayor had like a cone head and stuff and a tall hat. Like, dude, it was lit. And then mom and dad were like Jack and Sally. So I mean, I was on board. I was like, go family, that's super cool of you. Meanwhile, my wife and I was like, we're adults.
I'm a tired older person.
I'm an exhausted old person.
That was my outfit. I'm a very tired old person.
So my question for Paul is a play on our normal Slow Rolling Thunder. I would like to know, Paul, what's your preference if you had to choose between the two? Would it be 2 hoods or 4 hoods?
Oh man,
you only get to pick one of those options.
Well, I would rather. I guess I would have to go 4 because it's just so insane. It's so insane. You don't care, and you're definitely gonna be warm at that point. So I'm going 4 over 2. 2, just every time you get more than 1, I'm already like, ugh. But at least if I'm wearing 4, I know that I'm like getting pretty warm. How about that?
That's fair. I'll accept that answer. If you guys haven't seen, I posted a reel earlier today on Instagram about his. I think you had 3 on in that one.
3 or 4, yeah.
We wore tons of hoods the whole time, and I will tell you guys the worst situation I think I've ever been in was 2. No, well, it was 3 hoods, right? So I'm 3 hoods deep, but hear me out. I was wearing the Aftco Reaper with the built-in like I'm being strangled by a small person gator, and then I wore a hoodie underneath it, so it went up through the sewn-in neck gaiter, and I was suffering the whole day.
Awful.
I was like,
so you need to cut it out. Yeah. So I do have a question. I have a question.
This can fine. The built-in thing is annoying. Yeah.
So here's ever heard of Carhartt? B Dooley, are we ready to fight? I'm like, we're in the Metro Detroit area. I have more? I have Carhartt that I actually do Carhartt stuff in. So yeah, 100%.
Heard of Carhartt?
I'm ready to fight.
It's the was almost named Carhartt. You guys didn't even know how
it was close. It was close. Okay, my question is, I like this one a lot, and then maybe it'll end up for all YouTubers. I think we're gonna have to ask them this, and this can be the last one. So just so everybody knows,
we're gonna draw a winner.
Yeah, and actually draw the winner now. Chaz, draw the winner now.
Draw the winner.
Okay, and then we'll announce it. We'll announce it. So Chaz, draw the winner. No, announce the winner.
Army Outdoors, yes. You better
Army Outdoors, you're the winner. We're gonna wait for you while we're doing this. You are the winner. Army Outdoors, 88N. He said pick me, and he got it. What is awesome. That is great. Double pick me. All right. Well, while we're waiting, we know how to get him. We can get it.
Ralph, IG me.
Yeah.
Send me a message. I'll forward it through the message.
He goes, yes.
There we go.
That's so great. All right.
We talk on IG already. Just tell me.
We'll get that one handled. So, congratulations. So my question,
final slow rolling thunder.
Final slow rolling thunder, which is more of a lightning round. I will say this. What is your most frustrating filming faux pas as like a YouTuber? It's like, what is the one thing that you either forget or accidentally do when you're like messing with your GoPro, or like what happens that you get the most frustrated with, that like mistakes you make yourself? Because I know what mine is. I want to know what yours is.
Okay. The one that happens most commonly, or just
no. What's the one that gets you like, so like almost unreasonably upset?
Okay. So batteries are never an issue. Back in the day, I would say batteries, not having enough, not having them charged. But currently, I would say you could say not recording, right? Which happened on this trip, and I would say that's a no-brainer. Right?
But I just filmed a whole video that I didn't actually film.
I know how you feel because I've done that plenty of times in the office too.
Oh my god!
It was in the on the water.
It was in the office.
I'll let you roll on that, but I'm gonna say alternatively, filming an entire scene without audio or upside down or pressing time lapse is more frustrating than not filming at all. Because I'm like, you technically almost did your job, and you technically some footage. And like Paul did this on an ice fishing trip, and I've done this too. I'm not blaming you. I just think the most notorious example we've had together was you time lapsed that 30-minute fishing challenge with Wisconsin Wildman when we were fishing in Wisconsin.
Yep, a third of the trip just doesn't exist.
Third of the trip deleted.
I will say so. I was gonna say initially when the audio sucks, like when you have like the gain way up or whatever for whatever reason, that is very frustrating. But it's fixable. It's not perfect, but it's fairly fixable. So I'm definitely gonna have to say when you click record and it's recording and there is an unfixable problem, such as time lapse, such as whatever that hypersonic thing where it takes 1 million pictures. Like there's that. What was the one that I did? What was the one that I did?
That's what you did, time lapse.
Recently? Was it time lapse?
That was on the ice fishing trip. I don't know
what did I do for so my big fish I don't have. Does GoPro 9s do they do that? It does. That's what I'm trying to figure out is like when it takes 100 pictures, not time lapse where it goes like super fast.
Yeah, like we didn't have your 4.6 on camera. We had to get my camera because I turned and watched you catch it.
Because
we don't have your angle.
Because I hit some setting that I didn't know existed, and it was like Hyperloop or some crazy set. I still don't even know what the setting. I have to go back and like listen to the film. I think I wrote it down, and I'm going to tell you right now, I wanted to put my fist through a wall. And when you do the whole day, like the whole day like that, because when we film, we usually have external battery, which means I'm filming the whole time. I almost never check my camera. Well, I check my camera, but not nearly as often. You can miss half a day and not even know it because you're seeing the red light, everything looks fine, and you just missed a setting and you didn't even know what you did.
Or more recently, fogging up my polarized lenses, which
I had that happen. I
picked up some fancy, expensive ones, so we should be good now.
I had that happen to me with that exact same lens. I'm not saying I didn't warn you, but man, that was and I lost a whole day of fishing on St. Clair. Actually, I caught some really big bass that just don't exist as far as the internet's concerned. So yeah, that losing footage that like you did everything right except maybe you hit a button and you didn't even know it. That is by far my most
You're this close.
Thing.
You almost
did everything right except a close second though is forgetting a crucial piece of equipment, whether it's a cord or a battery or a screw. I now carry a bin with all of my equipment, including a very expensive camera that I will probably never use. I carry all of that equipment with me. That includes mini screwdrivers. That includes extra wipes. That includes doubles of almost everything that I own. That includes a whole second setup, which we didn't cover this. Jeff on day one forgot his camera, didn't know where it was. We had to use my second camera because I carry a whole second GoPro 9 setup with me.
I forgot about that.
The whole thing. The entire.
I'm a YouTuber. I'm here to film myself fishing. Oh wait, I don't have a camera.
So there you go.
The second day, I forgot my external battery. You guys, I was on fire. The camera was in my clothing bag because we used it for B-roll driving up the whole time and had it out. And I was like, I should charge this in my room. So I put it in my bag. We went upstairs and then we came downstairs and had a fire with people. So I forgot it.
It's so easy to do, and it doesn't matter what it is. But now I carry a bin, and it has literally all of my camera gear in it, double of almost every single thing that I could need for a day. So forgetting something for me now is lower on the list because I know, like you had to do with your lens, I can go back to the truck. Yes, I'll be ticked off. I'm gonna miss some time and all that, but I can go fix that. You can't fix time lapse or whatever that multiple photo thing is. You can't fix that. That day never exists. You did not do your job. So that's
you definitely can't fix that, but we've never been trying to do that.
Your checklist is so ungodly long because it's all the fishing stuff, and you have 10 times as much fishing stuff as everybody else because you have to catch fish for that day. You got all that. Then on top of that, you got like the weather and the gas and the food and all the other stuff that a normal person brings. But then you also have this massive list of camera gear, and it seems simply like your GoPro. No, battery, cords, mounts, adapters, lenses, extra batteries, extra cards. I've gotten all the way to a fishing spot and not had a memory card. Think about that. You get all the way down. You have all your stuff. You go to film. You turn it on. Beep beep beep. What? Beep beep beep. What? Beep beep beep. What? Check it again.
This is Paul talking to his GoPro, by the way.
No memory card.
So yeah, completely frustrating. But you know what isn't frustrating? Being with you guys. You're so awesome. All right, so we're gonna wrap up the show for today. You guys have been awesome. Thank you so much, Army Outdoors. We're gonna get you that gift card, my friend, sponsored by Monster Bass. Thanks to Monster Bass and Smallmouth Crush for like helping us. We didn't really dive into that, but like Smallmouth Crush like helped us with everything that went on in that trip and like helped make sure the trip happened. Monster Bass sponsored it, and all the guys that were there, like we said 1,000 times, were awesome, and you guys should go check out all their channels. So Smallmouth Crush, we had Fishing Grubs, we had Larry Melton Jr., we had Epic Eric, we had Fishing with Gramps was not there, but he's here now and he's awesome. But yeah, I mean, you guys are fantastic as well, and we missed you, and we're happy that we got to share some of the behind the scenes of this trip with you. We might do a B-roll for our members later on. We got plenty.
I'll do one.
B-roll.
I'll do tonight.
We'll get something together if you guys are. If you're a member, we'll throw something together in like a week or so. But yeah, part 2 drops tomorrow, and I had a big day, so you guys should watch it just for my PB. And some cool stuff happened, and then we hung out with the guys again. Plus, the Cabela's trip happened. So enjoy that. Let us know what you guys think. Be sure to like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And be back here next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern.
And Tuesday.
And Tuesday for our members, 11/9, Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Next week, we will be here for you members as well. If you're Chartreuse level or higher, so your Snorlax crews as well, show up. Maybe try to get on video with us and maybe be wearing your Ned Rig Nerd shirt. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yes.
We'll wear ours too. The what? The videos for Snorlax shirt, correct. Yes. Well, they're the ones with the shirts.
You got a Ned Rig shirt? You can do it because you're officially a member.
All right, whatever. You guys are awesome. Love you, miss you. See you next week. All right, Chaz, take us out of here.
Took a swing at a wrecking ball and I prayed for my downfall and I found a way to reconcile, cause in my heart it's not worthwhile. It's a bloody battlefield where some go down, others heal. In the end it's all the same. All you